Hi guys, welcome to the Filmmakers Roundtable. I'm Josh Gerson.
I'm Andrew Young.
And I'm Chad Gregson.
And we just watched Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
And before we go any further, I should mention, and it should be obvious from the title of this video, that this is going to be a heavy spoiler podcast. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, by all means, pause this video, go watch the movie, and then come back.
Right. And with that out the way, let's put the chessboard out. And I gotta say, I was critical of the movie, and these two were the fanboys.
Yes, indeed. As you can see with the shirt.
Now, what was your problem with it? What was wrong with it?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I felt it was rushed. And I have very high expectations of the DC universe because I know they do great stuff with their animated cinematic universe, and they do great animated full movies that go to home video. So when I know this is the same team that's involved, or at least some of the people, I have, my expectations are this high, and I thought, like, really the writers couldn't have, like, taken a few tips from the animation staff. I was a little bit disappointed because I just have that high expectations of DC.
You do realize it's not the animated universe. It's Zack Snyder's universe. It's his take on the universe.
I'm talking about the storytelling element, because, like, the thing about directors is directors.
Well, this is just the beginning. It's the dawn of justice. This is, like, we're not going to see a Justice League movie for several years to come.
Yeah, basically your problem was there was just so much thrown at us and so fast, right?
I mean, if I had to put a better example out there, like, there was an animated, version of this, but it ended up, how can I put it? There was a previous anime movie of this, of a similar storyline, and honestly, they handled it way better, at least, pacing-wise. Because I felt it was just so rushed, and I felt like I couldn't really enjoy the character development. Because, like, everyone was a flat board except for Bruce Wayne.
Well, let's be honest about this. I mean, these developers had months upon months upon months of developing this story and developing this movie. And granted, I understand where you're coming from. It did feel like there was a lot was thrown at us. It was very high-paced, but here, let's be honest here.
It was prolonged.
Yeah, prolonged.
I think it was 30 minutes too long to me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
30 minutes.
But also, you have to think about this. We live in a society nowadays where everything must be now. So this is how we've developed as a society.
For me,
it's a little, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is just how our society is. Obviously, it doesn't work so good at film all the time, but that's just how it is.
For me, it's just that when I see so many great examples from their animated universe and the writers from that from that part of the staff of DC, and they couldn't take tips and tricks from them, I just find it, that's why I'm extra disappointed, because I know they can do better. But they fell short, and that's where my issues is.
There's another thing they fell short on. A lot of it was underexposed, and I know you all saw this. A lot of it was overexposed too. Did you see how much noise?
Yeah,
how much noise was in about half those clips?
Yeah, I was actually really shocked.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know if it was because of the largest of the screen and because it's just.
Well, there were some scenes that were perfect, and there's other
Right.
scenes like, what did they keep the ISO turned way the fuck up? Why is this happening? What is going on?
Yeah, honestly, here's the thing. Sorry, Zack Snyder. I honestly think you should have another colorist. You need to understand that color is also part of your story. You can make me all doom and gloom, but the point of Batman is to be doom and gloom, while Superman is meant to be bright and happy. In fact, there's a great YouTube video of a group of filmmakers who took the footage from Man of Steel and put the colors back to a more brighter and more lively aspect instead of draining it. And you know what? It felt like a Superman movie because it was bright and it was hopeful. Zack Snyder needs to fire his colorist because...
But why?
I'll tell you why.
Because maybe the colors followed what Zack Snyder wanted.
Okay. You need to understand your color theory a lot better, Zack Snyder. I know I'm not a big shot, but hear me out. Color in a film can change your entire mood. Hey, I'll show evidence in my example.
It's meant to be that way.
Okay, Superman is meant to be hope. In fact, even in the beginning, what's the S stand for? It stands for hope.
That's all it stands for.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
There was no hope when he died. He died.
Let me finish.
Spoiler, by the way.
Yeah, spoiler. If you see Doomsday in the trailer, you should know that Superman's gonna die. Let's be real here.
Period, yeah.
Like, that was pretty much a given from the minute I saw Doomsday, who I also have a lot of angry thoughts about. Anyway,
Actually, I thought he came out pretty
No.
good because he came back in like 3 different forms.
Not really. I mean, like, I want like the proper bone spurs. Like
He had bone spurs.
He did.
Yeah, but, like, proper
on his
bone spurs.
3rd or 4th
I mean,
time coming back.
what
yeah.
constitute as proper bone spurs?
All right, if you watched
No, I've seen all the
being too-
animated things.
You're
I
being
have.
too hypocritical.
okay, comic books, the Bible of said comic book movies, where things come from.
Right.
Look at that wonderful material. I mean, I think they had the guys from Weta, who were the guys who created the Doomsday CGI monster. It just looked like a recycled troll animation from Lord of the Rings, which was almost 15 years ago. And that's why I was upset.
You know what? Obviously, we could keep going down your path because you spent like the past 5-6 minutes.
You're too hypocritical.
Yeah,
you're,
hypocritical.
way
you're
too
acting
hypocritical.
too much like a Hollywood.
No, but like
a Hollywood
Critic.
critic.
okay,
Yeah, that's what you're
I've
acting
seen
like.
I've seen better from DC, and I hold it to a high standard because I'm a big fan, and I know they can do better. And when they fall short, I keep them accountable.
Could the storytelling be better?
Yes.
Yeah. Could the movie be better as a whole? Yeah.
Yes.
Could the movie be shorter? Yeah. But the whole point of the movie is, it's about superheroes. It's about the Justice League. It's about
It's the foundation.
it's the
of what's coming.
foundation to what's coming in the future.
Sure.
And
Because Superman was meant to die because Batman is supposed to rise and find these people, assemble the Justice League. But they also got to think of the fact that if Superman was a part of the Justice League right now, that the Justice League would pretty much seem unstoppable. What Zack Snyder wanted to do was make the Justice League, even when they were all together, still feel vulnerable because they don't have Superman, the Man of Steel, the Immortal, the guy that can't be killed there to save the day because he's just not there. He's not going to be there for quite some time, I'm guessing. Like, to me, I'd rather see Superman come back either at the end of the first Justice League movie or even as far as the second Justice League movie.
Well,
That's what I feel. I wish they would probably do that. Hopefully it'll be towards the end of the first.
right.
But I have a feeling he may come back maybe towards the beginning or middle of the second movie. But I don't know because, I'm not Zack Snyder. I'm not the people that's making these movies. I don't know the end game. So everything we're talking about right now is just speculation. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
talking about speculation, I honestly think there's 3 more, just 3 more DC DC movies coming out. And considering that Superman is like the Jesus Christ character of the DC universe, I think movie number 3, just like Jesus rising on the third day, is going to come back. Because pretty much there's so much Christ imagery when it comes to Superman. He's the Ubermensch.
The 3 movies, though, I mean, you
Yeah,
got
Suicide Squad.
you still got to introduce Aquaman. You still have to introduce Cyborg, and then you have to introduce
The Flash. Yeah.
True.
Or, and whatever, I don't know which way they're going to do it yet. I'm hoping they're going to do Flash, Aquaman, then Cyborg, but it's probably going to be Aquaman, Flash, and then Cyborg.
Right.
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Oh,
But-
actually, official news. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Official news. You saw, if you're watching the movie, you see Wonder Woman looking at all the files of each superhero that Lex Luthor has been keeping eyes on.
Right.
They will be released in the order of those files in sequence. So you're gonna see a Flash movie.
Well, no, it's Aquaman, then it's Cyborg, then it's Flash.
Right.
Maybe
I think, right? Or
No,
no,
yeah,
it's
the Flash
Flash.
was at the very end.
No, Flash was first.
Or was Flash first?
Flash was first.
Flash,
Flash,
then it
Aquaman.
was Cyborg, and then it was Aquaman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you will see them in that order, at least according to all the news pages.
Well, obviously you guys are talking about how you've had how fast it was. You're talking about hoping that Superman will probably come back either at the end of Justice League or in the second one.
Yeah.
Which is quite a significant amount because that's 10 years from now or something.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
years?
no, think about it. Think about this. It was just only last year that Age of Ultron came around, right?
Yeah.
And that's almost 9-10 years since the very first Iron Man. So think about that for a minute.
Yeah, but they fast forward the entire thing. So honestly, from you see these official pages, every year there's going to be a new
Right.
DC movie, and actually I think there's going to be one year where there's going to be 2 on the bookend of the year.
But basically, I'm just saying, based off how the Marvel Universe has done it, and based off what he's saying, that's a significant time without Superman. I'm just saying that. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that's very interesting. I like it, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I would like this to go take a step back and just talk about the actual movie itself, because the trailers made it look like the movie was very dark and gritty, and it was.
Very.
But what I really enjoyed about it is how they established the world in which the movie takes place. Because in the very beginning of the movie, we are looking at, we're looking through the perspective of Bruce Wayne running through the streets of Metropolis while Superman and Zod are duking it out. Now, even though we know it's Bruce Wayne, we know just how badass he is, at this moment he feels so helpless and so afraid of what's happening, and that goes for everyone else in Metropolis as well. So I can understand why this entire world, this world that Zack Snyder is creating, is very much afraid of who Superman is and what he represents, because the entire world, it's a paradigm shift. Yeah. Everything is no longer the way it was.
Right.
So it makes sense to why this world is dark and gritty. It makes sense why Superman does seem as not as light as you have suggested it. Now, I understand. I grew up with Superman being the ultimate paragon of virtue.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's how Superman should be. But in this day and age, obviously that just doesn't cut anymore. Like our society is reflective of our own artistic expressions. And in Zack Snyder's artistic expression, he's showing a much darker world. Yeah, but I'm hoping, this is me hoping here, I'm hoping that he could somehow tell a message here that as dark as things are, we could come together and get out of this.
I want to cut you off.
Okay.
The way I see what Zack Snyder was also talking about how Superman is incredibly boring because he is all powerful.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can really do to him to make him better, because he can beat damn near anything pretty much, minus Doomsday. Of course he dies, but then we all know he comes back. So does he really die? Not really. No. He's just in a coma.
Wait, a healing coma.
A healing coma.
I'm sorry. That is the biggest cop out of all comic books.
That's why he wanted to kill him off, is so that to take it back to the vulnerability side, that no superhero in the DC universe is safe. No one.
Right.
So if Superman can die, anyone can die.
And may I add on to that? It's actually going to put a much bigger challenge on Batman to bring the Justice League together, because it's a lot easier when you have the god human behind you saying, "You gotta join us for the safety of the universe," versus some cuckoo billionaire who dresses up as a bat every night, telling you we gotta get together. So I like that, and I think it's ballsy. It's definitely ballsy, and I like it. That's like. Can I talk, because I'm the big pessimist here, can I talk about what I liked about the movie?
That would be a welcome change of pace.
Yeah, because the only thing you've been talking about this entire time is what you hated.
Everything Batman. I loved everything. The Batcave, badass design. I love the fact that Wayne Manor has been left in ruins. I thought that was actually pretty cool, because, I thought that was awesome. I loved pretty much every scene Batman had. Ben Affleck was the win.
Yeah, there was a good balance between Bruce Wayne and Batman. Yeah. We saw how Bruce Wayne acted. We saw how Batman acted. There was a good deal of action from Batman, as well as detective, style from Batman, and that's what I really liked about it. And basically, I did have one issue with this whole movie, though, only because that sometimes they threw stuff at you. I mean, you can logically assume how things, went, but there wasn't enough explanation. One thing that wasn't really well explained, we talked about it last night after we watched it, was when the Flash. Well, actually, no, correction. It was when Bruce Wayne, apparently he goes to sleep because the Bat computer is decrypting this hard drive he got from Lex Luthor, and essentially what we're seeing here, because if you're a fan of DC Universe, you'll understand this. What we're seeing is the future. Batman comes out of a bunker, and we see this exploding volcano in the background, and a giant Omega symbol on the planet's surface. So if you're a big DC comic book fan, what you realize is that Apocalypse has come to Earth. Darkseid is there somewhere, and and there's parademons everywhere, and he has Superman under his control and everything like that, right?
And he has Superman under his control
Yes.
simply because Lois has died.
Yes.
And that goes back to the whole Flash.
Yeah, the Flash thing. Because see, here's the thing. Then Batman wakes up. Now, it's not really It's not really explained well if this is something that Batman saw or if this is something that we saw.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be either or in this situation. And to make matters even more interesting, because this whole sequence has nothing to do with the overall plot of this movie. This is to help set up for the future movies that follow.
Yep.
So anyway, while Bruce Wayne is sitting there at the back computer, all of a sudden off to his right, boom! This is like vortex of energy, and there's the Flash, and he's yelling at Bruce Wayne. It's like pretty much, it's hard to hear
Lois
him.
is the key.
Yes, pretty much he's saying that Lois Lane is the key.
Find us.
And find us.
Yes.
And finding us, he means the other members of the Justice League.
Yes.
Because apparently, we can all assume that basically what's happening here is the Flash is going back in time to warn Bruce Wayne about the coming apocalypse of Darkseid, and basically he's telling him how to win. It's like he's trying to help him cheat. Now, it was funny, like in the audience, like after that whole thing went down, I'm the only one that's like,
Yeah, I was. Okay, I like my movie viewing experience in one way and one way only. No one says a fucking thing, and no one's doing this with their freaking popcorn. And then this fucker here.
I just loved
It
it.
was welcome. It was welcome.
I loved it. I love when they do
welcome.
this. The only real thing I have a little bit trouble with accepting is that now I understood kind of how this
Hold on.
happened.
I did have a thought too.
Oh,
that scenario, that future, it was never debunked that it will never happen again. It could possibly still happen.
Oh yeah.
Because Lois could die at any time throughout any of the
But
movies.
then again, that's how we're perceiving it.
Yeah.
It's not like we're giving clear answers here. There's a lot of questions hanging up in the air, and we don't really know how it's going to proceed at this point, which is the whole point.
And then I had another thought too: is when Superman comes back, does he even want to be a superhero anymore, or does he just want to be off on his own? Kind of like in the comic Batman or the Death of Superman.
Right.
There was some time before he actually came back to be a hero again.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that try to take up the mantle to be Superman, but they can never be what he was. So,
Right.
I mean, that's just another thought that I had.
Right. Well.
No. Actually, I like that idea. I think it's going to add more challenge to Batman trying to make the Justice League put together. If Superman's often like, the fortress of solitude,
Exactly.
and just saying fuck humanity. You guys were shits to me. But you know what? There's a scene where another big spoiler alert. He sees visions of Papa Kent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, Papa Kent basically, just to summarize what he said, is the only way you can win, son, is to show them that you're willing to die for them by dying. So you're going to win by dying. But don't worry, you're going to rise back 3 movies from now.
But I have
Personal
another
thoughts.
question too. How do you feel about that death scene? How did you feel when you saw that from when he died up until the burial? What was your thoughts? What was your feeling from the point that he died until the very end of the movie?
Okay, this was my thought, and I really loved just how this hit close to home for me. I mean, not that I've been through anything like this, but it was kind of very surreal for me. Is that there's 2 funerals going on. There's the funeral that the world is holding, even though they don't have his body. Obviously, Batman and Wonder Woman and Lois Lane took Clark's body and brought it back home. But what's happening is with the funeral, we're seeing a funeral for Superman in Metropolis, and we're seeing which doesn't have a body, and we're seeing a funeral for Clark Kent in Smallville, and it felt really weird in a weird way because this is a man that has living 2 different lives. There's the life of Superman and the life of Clark Kent, and it just makes me think that there's a great story element there because basically, even though it's the same guy, he's living these 2 different lives. And somewhere in the end, all these people need to find the balance.
Yep.
Even Batman does. Like back in Arkham Knight, he had to find a balance because in that whole game, he was questioning, who is he? Am I Batman? Am I Bruce Wayne? Am I the Joker? Because there was a bit of that in there too.
Spoilers if you haven't played that video game.
Yeah.
But it's your fault because that game came out when?
I have another thing to talk about too.
All right,
that we're
shoot.
still back on Batman versus Superman is how did you feel when Lois got the package?
Oh God.
that had Clark's or Superman's engagement ring.
Heartstrings.
And she was wearing it. She was wearing it at the funeral.
Yeah.
She was wearing it. So pretty much that's her saying yes. But the question is, like, how pure is her heart? I mean, is she going to stay true to that? Is she just going to keep that ring forever and not get married?
Oh,
I mean, I know that they love each other, like,
tell.
universally, but, you know...
I have a feeling...
What if they do this? What if they throw a complete curveball, and the reason why Clark hates Batman in the future is because when Superman died, Lois got attached to Bruce, and they ended up getting together. How would you feel about that?
I would say
Wow.
that is out of left field. However,
I'm being serious.
however, not impossible because in the animated movie with Batman v Superman, the one that was like with the Tim Bruce universe, that kind of did happen.
I'm just saying, what if, you know, they could throw that major curveball in there, and then when he comes back and sees them together, he's like, you know, heart-wrenched and heartbroken or whatever.
Well, guys, we're pretty much 22 minutes in here, so maybe we should move this to closing statements, because we can't. I mean, we could talk about this for 5 hours, really, but we have to cut it off at some point.
Sure. Okay. If I could like summarize everything I wanted to speak about.
All right, shoot.
Okay. I loved everything Batman. It was awesome. Great stuff. Jeremy Irons, fantastic as Alfred. Would I want him to wear more of a butlery outfit a few times? Sure, but I can live with him being a mechanic and a computer engineer and a scientific wizard. I was pissed off with the weird, awkward Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor. I don't care if he's Lex Luthor Jr.
Right.
He's kind of weird.
Well,
and,
this is just the
And like
start,
at the end, like
so-
he has his head shaved and like, oh cool, he's like proper Lex Luthor. But then at the end, he has this snot pool on his lip and it annoyed the fuck out of me. I was like, wipe that. Seriously, you couldn't take a second take and wipe the snot pool from your nose? It was distracting to me. And he's like, the bell has rung, the bell has rung. I'm like, fuck off. You're meant to be...
Yeah, and he's talking about Darkseid.
Yeah. You're meant to be a badass, the one man who can stand up to Superman with only pure intellect and moolah.
Well, he hasn't got there yet, so...
He already has the moolah, and he has the intellect. He needs to be...
But he's there, like I said, this is the beginning. You got several other films to develop his character. It doesn't need to be developed just
Too many excuses.
during this movie.
Too many excuses. I've seen too many good Lex Luthors to give this a pass.
It's all about developing.
But
They're developing. It's all about the bigger picture.
All right,
Just like I
Andrew.
said
I
before.
mean, are you done yet with yours?
and one last thing, I do have high hopes for the next one. I really do. I don't know if Zack Snyder is going to be directing the next.
He's going to be involved in some way. He's got it.
Yeah, no, he's always going to be executive and producer, but
Well, if I could chime in, I thought it was great. It wasn't the best. It could be better. Like I said, there was a lot of, overexposed shots, a shit ton, because you could see the noise. There's a lot of underexposed shots. Yeah, that could all be, fixed in post, but it should all be fixed while you're actually shooting on production. Be a lot easier. Some story elements could have been better. Yeah, but you know what? I'm a fan of DC. I'm a fan of the Justice League. I like the movie. I mean, Batman or Superman died fighting Doomsday, just like in the comic. They had some injustice, stuff in there about injustice, the comics. They had some of the graphic novel that they had in there. So it was a good overall blend of stuff for me. Yeah, there was a lot packed into one movie, but I got a lot out of it, so I liked it. I'm a fan. I'm always going to continue being a fan, so I can't wait to see how they're going to take this. I can speculate all I want to, but until either I know what happens in the next films or the next Justice League, I don't know anything until they actually, because this is a start. This is a start. This is all it is a start. We know nothing about the Justice League. We don't know where they're taking none of this. So, but I think they did a fine, good job relaying the story to the best of their ability. So, they did, to me, just as well as if, a Christopher Nolan did this film, or, whoever else, a Josh Whedon would do a Marvel film or something like that. I think he did okay. So.
Overall, if I had to give this movie like a number, I would definitely say at least an 8 out of 10, and I probably would leave it at that. I won't even consider giving it a lower or higher grade. And
hold on, while we're talking about grades, what grade would you give it?
what would you give?
I would. Okay.
Like out of 10.
Out
say
of
a number.
10, I would say a 7 because it was just rushed. And just the Eisenberg was annoying to me.
All right, Andrew.
I am even though I was a huge fan of the movie, I am also I'm very particular on how I rate things. I never rate things above a 9 ever, even if it could be the best movie, and it could be Birdman or it could be The Revenant, and I still wouldn't rate it higher than a 9 because it could always be better. But for this movie, I would rate it about a 7.5.
Okay.
Is what I would give.
So between 7 and 8. So
That's higher than all the critics gave it. Like as Rotten Tomatoes put, they put
tomato.
Tomato, whatever. You Americans have ruined English.
Well, let's put it this way: it made what 460 some odd million.
Yeah, so does Justin Bieber. That doesn't make him make good music.
He made more money than you've ever made.
Anyway, let me go ahead and finish off with my with my closing statements. I love the overall underlying tone and foundation of the film because we really understand the story structure here. We understand how the people, like, basically this, even though the story is about them, about these superheroes and their conflict, we have to remember that it's affecting the world around them. And we really got a good grasp of how the world is reacting because obviously we saw the destruction from Metropolis. We saw the scene from Capitol Hill when it gets blown up by Lex Luthor. We never even touched that part.
Yeah, that was diabolical.
Now I'm like, my God, Lex Luthor has balls up to yin yang.
Yeah.
But
kind of surprised he didn't get arrested from that point.
well, no one had proof of it.
Yeah, they had no.
They didn't have proof of it.
I mean, okay, fine.
I mean, obviously, the only real problem I had in this film was obviously it did feel like there was a lot. It felt rushed.
Yeah.
But then again,
I agree.
I think we can all agree that's solely because of the way our social society has developed over the past few years, with like social media and stuff like that.
Everybody wants to be
That
a
is a
critic
cop
nowadays.
out.
That's the problem.
That's a cop out.
Everybody wants to be a self-proclaimed critic.
It's not a cop out. It's basically I'm telling you that's
Enjoy
how
the
society.
fucking movie.
It's how society has developed. It really is.
No, I've seen them do.
It's a reflection.
I've seen them do better. They can do better. I'm
not
holding
saying
them
they
accountable.
can't do better. I'm just saying it's just a side effect.
For all fans, the 19 fans that we have, do us a favor. Get more people to like our stuff and subscribe to our videos. But below, I'm going to have a link to our Instagram, our website, our Facebook page. Give those a look. Give those a like. Follow us, even on Twitter. Follow us. That would be helpful. If anybody sees this video, we'll probably get like 5 views, but whatever. 5 views we didn't have yesterday.
True.
So,
And
but it's below, so check it out.
And we'll put links into all the stuff we were referencing, and I will put links to my reference materials, and likewise with them in the final edit.
And the final question, now that the answer has been mostly solved, who would win in a battle against Batman versus Superman? Here's a question for all of you at home: who would win in a fight between Andrew versus Josh versus me?
That is true.
Ooh, okay, I have to.
No, you would go out first.
Comments below.
You would go out first. Me and Andrew, we would have a good fight. We would have a good fight.
I dare say your military experience might give you the trump card. Because that's that proper combat training. Well, Andrew can be, he's the first one I want to be in a brawl with, hands down, because he's going to go Hulk. I'm going to negotiate because I'm good with my words.
Okay, if you negotiate, you're
I'm not
out.
even going to say anything.
All right, that's your question. That's what you have to answer, and we'll see you in the next video, guys.
All right, bye, guys.